The courtroom erupted into chaos as Chief Justice John Roberts slammed his gavel down with a thunderous crack, his voice rising to a piercing scream that echoed through the chamber. "Enough, Senator Kennedy. This is not a circus." The cameras, rolling live on national television, captured every ounce of the tension as Senator John Kennedy, unflinching, adjusted his tie and leaned back in his chair, his icy stare cutting through the air like a blade. Millions watching at home held their breath, unsure whether they'd witnessed the beginning of a historic meltdown or the spark of something far more profound. What followed was a viral moment that would redefine the boundaries of justice, power, and human resilience, a story that unfolded over weeks, layered with emotion, struggle, and an unexpected redemption. It all began months earlier, in the quiet backrooms of Capitol Hill, where John Kennedy, a seasoned Louisiana senator known for his sharp wit and folksy charm, had been preparing for a high-stakes Supreme Court hearing. The case involved a contentious voting rights dispute, one that threatened to dismantle decades of progress for marginalized communities. Kennedy, a man who had risen from humble beginnings in rural Louisiana, felt a deep personal stake in the matter. His own father, a sharecropper turned civil rights advocate, had instilled in him a relentless drive to fight for the underdog. But this time, the odds were stacked higher than ever, with powerful lobbying groups and a divided Supreme Court looming over the proceedings. On the other side of the bench sat Chief Justice John Roberts, a figure of impeccable decorum and legal precision, yet a man carrying his own burdens. Roberts had spent years navigating the treacherous waters of judicial politics, his every ruling scrutinized by a polarized nation. Beneath his composed exterior, however, was a man wrestling with doubt about whether his legacy would be one of fairness or compromise. The voting rights case had become a personal crucible for him, a test of his ability to uphold the Constitution while facing mounting pressure from both sides of the aisle. When Kennedy's questioning during the hearing grew unusually aggressive, probing into what he called hidden biases in Roberts' past rulings, the tension between the two men ignited like dry tinder. The live TV moment came during a heated exchange when Kennedy pressed Roberts on a specific decision that had favored corporate interests over voter access. "Your Honor," Kennedy drawled, his southern accent thick with intent, "are we really gonna let big money decide who gets a voice, or are we gonna stand for the folks who built this country with their own hands?" The gallery murmured, and Roberts' face flushed with frustration. "Senator, your theatrics are out of line," he bellowed, his voice cracking with rare emotion. "This court will not be bullied by grandstanding." Kennedy didn't flinch. Instead, he delivered a cold, measured response that silenced the room. "I'm not here to bully, sir. I'm here to remind you what justice looks like when you strip away the robes." The clip exploded online, racking up millions of views, with hashtags like #Kennedy vs Roberts trending for days. But behind the viral fame lay a deeper struggle. Kennedy returned to Louisiana to face a backlash from constituents who felt his outburst had embarrassed the state, while Roberts retreated into a private storm of self-reflection, haunted by the accusation of bias. For Kennedy, the challenge was personal. His teenage daughter, Emily, confronted him one night, tears in her eyes, asking why he had to make enemies when he could just play nice. The senator, usually so sure-footed, found himself questioning his methods. Meanwhile, Roberts confided in a close aide about the weight of his position, admitting, "I don't know if I'm still the man this court needs." The two men, unbeknownst to each other, were on parallel journeys of doubt and redemption. As the case dragged on, a turning point emerged. A leaked memo revealed that a key witness in the voting rights case had been coerced by a corporate lobbyist, casting doubt on the integrity of the evidence presented. Kennedy seized the opportunity, working tirelessly with a team of young lawyers, many of whom reminded him of his younger, idealistic self, to uncover more corruption. Roberts, meanwhile, ordered an internal review, a move that surprised even his staunchest allies. The two men's paths converged again during a closed-door session, where, away from the cameras, they faced each other with raw honesty. Kennedy apologized for his tone but stood firm on his principles. Roberts, in a rare moment of vulnerability, admitted he had lost sight of the people behind the law. "Maybe I needed your fire to see it again," he said quietly. The resolution came in a landmark ruling weeks later. The Supreme Court, led by Roberts, struck down the disputed voting law, citing the tainted evidence and affirming broader access to the ballot. Kennedy's relentless advocacy had paid off, but the victory was bittersweet. He visited his father's grave, reflecting on the legacy he was building, while Roberts penned a personal note to Kennedy, acknowledging the senator's role in pushing him to reconsider his stance. The note ended with a line that would later leak to the press: "Sometimes the loudest voices remind us of the quiet truths." The story spread beyond the courtroom, inspiring a wave of civic engagement. Viewers who had watched the viral clash tuned into local elections, and young activists cited the Kennedy-Roberts saga as a call to action. Emily, seeing her father's resolve, joined a voter registration drive, proud of the man he was becoming. For Roberts, the ruling marked a renewal of purpose, a chance to redefine his legacy. And for Kennedy, it was a testament to the power of standing firm, even when the world seemed against him. By the end, the message was clear: even in the heat of conflict, when voices clash and egos bruise, the pursuit of justice can forge unexpected alliances and ignite lasting change. As the nation watched, the story of two men, one shouting, one responding, became a beacon of hope, proving that resilience and reflection could turn a moment of chaos into a movement of inspiration.